In this lesson, we will finish setting up cloth properties for the character's pants. So if you recall from the previous lesson, we had a bit of skewing and collapsing at the top of the pants that we tried to constrain down, and that's due to our current constrain method. There's also another rubber band which works kind of like spring, except it does not consider any compression that happens to the cloth object, whereas spring considers both compression and stretch, as it does its best to have the cloth object reach its initial pose during the simulation. Weld is going to be the best choice here because those points will be glued down, but we saw an issue with weld in that the points actually shifted and were literally glued to the constrained surface. Now, to prevent that from happening, what we can do is simply skin our pants. Here's how this will work. We will duplicate them, skin them, and then we can use that object to constrain our end cloth jeans to. So let's get started by first removing the current point to surface constraint. We'll need to create a brand new one. And now with the jeans selected, we'll press Ctrl D to duplicate them. I'll use Ctrl A to switch back to the channel box. And let's go ahead and rename these to pants underscore skin 01. Great. Now clicking inside of the outliner, we can now go ahead and press the F key to frame the object. And to skin them, let's go to the show menu and show our joints. As you select between the skin joints, you can see that they all have a commonality, and that's the word bind. So what we can do is search for this word and have Maya grab all of the joints we need to skin to. So we'll use our select by name field at the top on the status bar. Let's make sure it's set to that. And we'll type in as follows. That's going to be rig followed by a colon because we need to add our namespace prefix. Following that, we'll add an asterisk so Maya can do a wildcard just in case there is another name before bind, so it doesn't interrupt our selection process. Then we'll go ahead and type in bind, and then following that we'll add another asterisk. Okay, great. So now when we hit enter, notice Maya will go through and select all objects with that name, that word. So now it's just a matter of control clicking the pants we need to skin to. Underneath animation, we'll choose skin, bind skin, smooth bind. Going to the options, we can work with the default settings. It doesn't matter because we do not need to paint weights at all. All we need to do is transfer the weights from our character to the jeans and we'll be good to go. In order to do so, we'll need to work with Maya's copy skin weights tool. So we first select the source geometry. So weights are already finished. And then we'll go ahead and control click the geometry that we'd like to transfer weights to. And now it's just a matter of choosing skin, edit smooth skin, copy skin weights. We'll go to the options. I find that the default settings work very well, so we'll go ahead and choose copy. Now to test this out, we'll go to modify and we'll turn off end cloth underneath evaluate nodes just to make sure that we can just focus on the two skinned meshes without having the end cloth simulate. Okay, so notice everything's working just fine. We can move back to our neutral pose. I'll go back to modify and we'll enable end cloths again. So now all we need to do is select our cloth mesh, pants. I'll press F8 to go to component mode. We'll now go ahead and marquee select to grab the points that we'd like to constrain. We'll go in and deselect the points that should not be constrained. We don't want the selection to move too low, otherwise the pants may seem too rigid, where they need to have flexibility. But what we will do is just make sure that the points around the waist, again, all of them have been selected, to make sure that these, again, stay glued down. Alright, so the selection looks good. If you need to add to your selection, I'd recommend holding down Control Shift and marquee selecting, so nothing gets deselected during that process. But either way, with all of these selected, we can now go ahead and control click the object that we'd like to constrain to, which is now our skin pants. So with those selected, we can now choose underneath the End Dynamics module, End Constraint, Point to Surface. Okay, great. Now you can see here that the skinned pants have actually been made a rigid object. Now if we were to select this and move to the attribute editor, you can see that yes, the rigid object is enabled, but it's not set to collide. We don't want our pants to collide with the surface at all. We just need that surface to hold our pants in place. Okay, so I'll go in and rename this rigid object to rigid_jeans01. And the constraint, we will use the same name we've used before, so that's PTS jeans01. Okay, great. We know we need to switch our constraint method to weld. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll also go in and hide the character's skin pants. So with them selected, let's go ahead and press Control A. And we'll go ahead and hide that geometry. I'll also go in and hide joints. So we're just focused on the pants. All right, we're now ready to go ahead and start a cache. With the pants selected, I'll go back to object mode with F8. We'll choose End Cache, Create New Cache. And let's give Maya a quick second as it simulates. I'll go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so we are now ready to create a play blast. Let's make sure that we are viewing through our bookmark. And we'll go ahead and start one. Here it is. Okay, so take a look at that. The top of the jeans have successfully been constrained. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lower part of the jeans, and you can see that there's a bit of a jitter. And that might be due to our quality settings, or it could be our temp value being way too low. So what we'll do is go ahead and fix this by actually adjusting our denim preset. With the pants selected, let's start back at our neutral pose, and we're going to go ahead and remove our cache. From there, we'll press Control A, switch back to the attribute editor. I'll go ahead and tear this off. And we're going to take what we currently have, and we're going to go ahead and blend our denim with about 90%. Okay, great. The temp value might be up a bit too high still. I might set this to about 0.7. You can see that a few other options have changed, like the mass, as well as the push-out value, and trap check is also off. We're going to go ahead and work with these settings here. And let's go ahead and dock the attribute editor again and rerun our cloth sim. Okay, so I went ahead and play blasted the jeans, and as you can see, the jittery behavior is gone, and we're getting some fabulous results. Beautiful. So guess what? The jeans are finished. What do we have left to do? Well, in the next lesson, we'll learn how to save all of the end cloth items that we've created out as presets, so we can save time for other characters. And then we're going to go ahead and make sure that the sweater interacts with the jeans. We can leave the jeans cached, but we at least want to prevent interpenetration between those two objects by making sure that the sweater has some influence. And then following that, we'll make sure that the t-shirt does not intersect with the sweater, and we'll learn a technique we can use to make sure that that does not happen. All right, so just a few more things and we will be finished.